Hello, class. Today we are going to have a look at Marvel Legends Series 2, Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom. I don't think he actually has a PhD though. But he's a villain, so he can lie about things like that. Sorry, I digress. So let's have a look at this figure. First we'll talk about his cloak. I don't want to call it a cape. It's that kind of soft plastic, so it holds the form really well, but it's not so stiff that he can... Well, I guess he can use it to stand up, but it's malleable a little bit as well. And if we look at it, it's got the bits here holding it up at his shoulders, and we can see it's got all the kind of wrinkles and stuff that as it comes over his shoulders, and the hood here at the back. His face is incredibly well detailed. You can see the eyes there through the mask. He's got the nose, the mouth that he's kind of known for, which looks like it opens, but it really doesn't. You can even see the little bolts on his head and around his mouth there, and around his eyes, and the little bits around his jaw. Very, very well done. His tunic, it's kind of like the one that Link wears, right? Anyways, we can see again, in terms of the sculpt, they put in the little wrinkles as it comes down, and they actually, whoever sculpted this spent a lot of time putting the texture of the material on it as well. Spent a long time doing that, because it's all there, you can feel that texture. The arms and the legs, well, I mean, it looks like he's got steel pants on. And I like the fact, even with the coloring, it looks like it's slightly tarnished. It's seen a few battles. Doom doesn't strike me as a type who demands everyone polish his armor. Or maybe he does, I don't know. Maybe he just got that tar beat out of him by Thing or something. But anyways. The mold is excellent. I like it's, what can I say? I just kind of like it. And the coloring, again, it's kind of a silvery gray, but with some matte gray over top. Again, kind of giving it a battle-worn kind of look. Now, in terms of articulation, Doom is a little bit harder to deal with, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but his head does move. And if we move the cloak a little bit, we can move his head a little bit further. But we'll deal with that cloak in a second. The shoulders, they're on the ball joint, so they have that full range of motion, but again, the cloak kind of hinders it a little bit. The arm turns at the shoulder there, it rotates. We've got one joint for the elbow, which I think is just because that's the way his elbows tend to look. It's just that one large circular bit there. So we have that. And then the wrist is going to turn or rotate. The hand is going to rotate at the wrist, sorry. And then we've got the movement here in the fingers. Same thing with the other side. His waist, that just turns back and forth. There's no up or down to that, really. And his legs, ooh, we're going to look up his skirt. They're on ball joints, but because, again, the tunic makes it pretty hard to move his legs. We're not going to do too much in terms of dynamic poses with Doctor Doom. But really, I don't think Doctor Doom strikes too many really overly dynamic poses. He just kind of stands there and says, I'm Doom, and I'm going to whip you because I'm Doom. And that's really about it, right? But anyways, sorry, the legs rotate at the thigh, which is nice. We've got one joint for the knee. Again, I think that's just because that's the way it was drawn. Unfortunately, no rotation here at the ankle for the foot, which is kind of sad. The ankle does go back and forth, and the toes up and down, like a lot of the Marvel Universe figures. Sorry, Marvel Legends, my bad. Now, in terms of his accessories, he does have a little handgun here, which we can pop out. Actually, I'm amazed I haven't lost it, to be perfectly honest. And we can put that in his hand. This is just so he can be pretend to be Clint Eastwood. Feeling lucky? Yeah, whatever. I always thought it was kind of silly for Doom, who has this powerful suit of armor with all these weapons, to carry a little pistol. Unless it can turn like people into maple flavored bacon or something. I don't really see the point. But anyways, we have that. Just seems silly to me. Why does he have a handgun? Sorry. Let's see if we can put that back in its holster. I should be able to do this. Done it before. There we go. And the other thing he comes with, actually the figure originally came with a comic, and it'd be nice to post that, but honestly off the top of my head I don't know where it is. Probably put it in the rest of my comic collection somewhere. We've got his stand. It's got a neat little picture. Maybe that's of his mom, because Doom is a big mama's boy. And it says Von Doom down here. We've got the stand. It's like a little turret off of his castle in Latveria. And again, on the back, it's got a little peg hole, so we could put this on our wall if we wanted to. Now the only thing about the stand is that it's relatively narrow. And yeah, we can definitely put Doom on it, but I don't think it gives him really that much support. But again, I guess if I wanted to have this on my wall instead of on my desk, it would be good for that. Which actually is something I've never tried. Maybe I should sometime. So there, we can... Well, we can't really see it now. But we can have him on his stand looking out over the denizens of Latveria. Now, let's get rid of this for a second. The other thing we can do, adjust my camera a little bit, we can, with a fair amount of difficulty, well, not that much, we can remove the cloak off of him. Oh, there we go. Now we've got more of the Secret Wars. I'm gonna smash you in the face kind of look. I think that's where he lost his cloak, wasn't it? Or was it in Infinity Gauntlet? I can't remember. But anyways, now we can see a little bit more of him. We've got the little thrusters here on his... I think they're supposed to be the thrusters that give him flight, which is kind of nice. We can see more of his neck there, how it, all the separate pieces, and the back of his head, which is kind of nice. And now we can see that his head does in fact go all the way around. And much like the Iron Man figure from Series 1, we can pull off the front of his face, or front of his mask, to show his face. And if I looked like that, I'd probably wear a mask too. But that's okay. Actually, I don't think it's burned well enough. His face looks pretty... That side of his face is a little bit scarred, but I always thought his face was supposed to have been burned pretty well. But there we have him without his face. Now apparently, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, apparently they, like, you know, this is how you saw Doom packaged. He was standing there, he had the comic behind him. Apparently, originally, the plan was that most of the figures, when you took the mask off, would be a Doom bot. It would be a robot behind there, and the variant actually would then be an actual Dr. Doom. Which makes sense, because in the comic books he would, you know, oh, we've defeated Doom. No, it's a robot. Oh, gosh darn it. So I think that was the original plan, and then they realized that might anger people a fair bit. So the variant for this figure would be a Doom bot, which I have seen floating around, but I don't care to have a Doom bot if I have the original Dr. Doom anyway. Now this figure, I would give it B+ for if I was going to give it a grade. I like the design, I like the mold, I like the colors. The fact that he's a little bit harder to pose and even stand up really is mildly annoying to me. It's not my favorite Marvel Legends figure, but it's definitely worthy of getting. Again, where would you find this? I have no idea. This is one of those ones that I purchased when it first came out, so how much it runs on eBay and how difficult it is to get, I couldn't tell you. But I think that's going to be just... Oh, there we go. He looks better with the cloak, he really does. There we have him. That is Dr. Doom from Marvel Legends Series 2. I think that just about wraps it up for me. Class dismissed.